Good evening, students. Today we are going to discuss the topic respiration in plants. Okay, today we have to start this topic, respiration in plants. So I'll be discussing questions one by one from this topic. So let me go to question number 1. Okay. So, okay, one more thing. Before I start the questions in this chapter, what we have discussed last year, I hope you all can remember. We have discussed cellular respiration in this chapter. So cellular respiration means what, students? It is nothing but breakdown of organic food substances in the presence or absence of oxygen to liberate energy. And this occurs in all cells, all living organisms. You take unicellular or multicellular, okay? Eukaryote, prokaryote, and cytoplasm and mitochondria are the major sites of respiration. So first part will discuss questions on general modes of respiration, types of respiration. So with this, let me come to question number 1. It is there on your screens, all of you can see. Respiration differs from the process of combustion in the fact that, okay, you have to identify in what aspects respiration is different from combustion. Option 1 says all the energy stored in glucose is released at once due to combustion. All energy stored in glucose is slowly released due to combustion. Statement 3, comparatively large quantity of energy is produced due to combustion. And fourth option is the carbohydrates act as the combustion substance. Okay. So question asked is how you are going to differentiate combustion and respiration. So students, just now I said what is respiration? Breakdown of respiratory substrates, okay, or food in the presence or absence of oxygen to liberate energy. This is respiration. So what is combustion? Combustion also is a process where substance is broken down in the presence of oxygen to liberate energy. So in both the processes, energy is liberated. We have to identify how they are different. Statement 1, once again I will read. All the energy stored in glucose is released at once due to combustion. Yes. Option 1 is absolutely right. In combustion, energy is released at one step, at single step. Whereas in respiration, we have seen that respiration is a stepwise process where energy is released in a stepwise manner, okay, slowly, not at once. Whereas in combustion, at a time, large amount of energy is released in the form of heat. That makes one major difference between respiration and combustion. Option 2, all energy stored in glucose is slowly released due to combustion is wrong. Combustion does not release energy slowly, whereas respiration only releases energy slowly. So option 2 is wrong here. Option 3, comparatively large quantity of energy is produced due to combustion is wrong. Respiration also yields same amount of energy. Only difference between combustion and respiration is in combustion, all the energy is lost in the form of heat, whereas in respiration, energy is stored. How much energy is stored, students? If you just recall, 50% of the energy is stored in the form of ATP molecules in respiration. I hope you all are listening carefully. In respiration, nearly 50% of the energy is stored in the usable form. So, which is the usable form? In the form of ATP. Okay. So, statement 3 is also wrong here. The carbohydrates act as combustion substance. Yes, this is true. Okay. But question asked is what is different? This is true for respiration also. So, this is not the difference. So, our answer would be option number 1 for question number 1. I hope you all have followed question number 1. Let me go to question number 2. Cellular respiration is absent in bacterial cells, RBCs, intestinal cells, viruses. Okay. So cellular respiration, what is the exact meaning of the word cellular respiration? Generally, respiration is a terminology we use. In zoology, if you remember, there's a chapter you have studied, students, breathing and exchange of gases. There also you have come across this term respiration. Okay, what is that respiration? It is nothing but intake of oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Breathing, in other words, I can say. But here the word used is cellular respiration, means breaking down of food to liberate energy which occurs inside the cell. This is specifically cellular respiration. Okay. So question is where it is absent. Bacterial cells, no. In all bacterial cells, they are living organisms. They will definitely have cellular respiration because to survive, they need to produce ATP. Option 1 is wrong here. It is present in bacteria. RBCs, yes, 100%. RBC also is the wrong. It is not the answer. In RBCs also, cellular respiration is there. How can you ask me if you say RBCs do not have nucleus? No problem. Nucleus is not required for cellular respiration. Cytoplasm is there. Yes, with the help of cytoplasm only, RBCs can carry out glycolysis and produce ATP. They also do not have mitochondria, so you may have a doubt. No nucleus, no mitochondria. Yes, in spite of absence of these also, RBCs have cellular respiration because cytoplasm is present. They are living cells. Okay. So option 3, intestinal cells, yes, 100%. They also have cellular respiration. Option 4, viruses. Yes, this is our answer. Okay, why? Because viruses, you know that they are neither living nor non-living, we say, because they are at the boundary line of living and non-living organisms. They are basically intracellular obligate parasites. Only in the presence of the host cells they will do. Okay, so there is no term you can use as cellular respiration for viruses, because viruses itself, for viruses we don't use the word cell. Okay, we never use the term cell for viruses, hence their respiration is absent. Okay, so option 4 is the answer for question number 2. Let me go to question number 3 here. Question number 3, you can see on your screens. Identify the wrong statement from the following. Okay, you have to find out the wrong statement here. Statement 1, the breaking of N bonds of complex compounds through oxidation within the cells, leading to release of considerable amount of energy, is called respiration. Students, this is a wrong statement. Why this is a wrong statement? Because here what you can see is the N bonds which are mentioned here is totally wrong. Because in respiration, there is breaking of carbon-carbon bonds, CC bonds, not the N bonds. Okay, CC covalent bonds are broken down. The energy which is stored in the chemical bonds is stored or further converted in the form of ATP. Okay, so this statement N bonding is totally wrong. This is not called as respiration. Okay. Statement 2, the compounds that are oxidized during respiration are known as respiratory substrates. 100% right. This statement is absolutely right. They are called respiratory substrates. So which are the different respiratory substrates? Majorly the cell will prefer carbohydrates as respiratory substrates, followed by fats, followed by proteins. What did I say? First preference is given to carbohydrates, next is fats, and then least is proteins. Okay, and you also must know that respiration by carbohydrates and fats is called as floating respiration, and respiration by proteins is called as protoplasmic respiration. Okay, so there are majorly 3 types of respiratory substrates. Okay, I hope you all have understood. Statement 3. During oxidation within a cell, all the energy contained in respiratory substrates, it is not released free into the cell or in a single step. Yes, students, what about this statement? This is absolutely a right statement, because during oxidation, I told in the previous question also, all energy is not released at a time. Some of the energy, or how much percentage I said, approximately 50% of the energy is stored. Remaining 50% is released, okay, into the atmosphere in the form of heat. Okay, and there is never release of energy in a single step. It is a stepwise, multi-step manner energy is released. So statement 3 is right. Statement 4, it is released in a series of slow stepwise reactions controlled by enzymes, and it is trapped as chemical energy in the form of ATP. Absolutely right. Statement 4 is absolutely right. So for this question, the answer is option number 1, breaking of nitrogen-nitrogen bonds. Okay. So now let us go to question number 4. Respiration in bacteria takes place at. Okay. So bacteria, question asked is about bacteria, means what? Prokaryotic organisms. Okay. So there is lot of difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic respiration. Okay. So here the site of respiration is asked. Option 1, cell wall. Option 2, plasma membrane. Option 3, nucleus. And option 4 is cytoplasm. Okay, site of respiration. So students, cell wall absolutely is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because all organisms do not have cell wall. We animals, okay, animal cells do not have cell wall. So cell wall has absolutely no role in respiration. This option is gone. Okay, plasma membrane, yes, can be the answer. Plasma membrane is the major answer here. Why? Because bacteria do not have mitochondria. So the functions of mitochondria are taken up by the plasma membrane. Okay, which part? If you just remember, there is a structure called mesosomes. I repeat what I'm telling, mesosomes. Mesosomes are what? If you just remember, mesosomes are the infoldings of plasma membrane. They do the function of respiration in bacteria, what you have studied last year in the chapter cell. I hope you are able to recall. So plasma membrane is nothing but, here he means to say mesosomes, sites of respiration. This is absolute right answer. Option 3, nucleus. No, nucleus. In the absence of nucleus also respiration can proceed. The best example I have given, RBC. Nucleus is not the answer. Cytoplasm can be the answer because glycolysis of course occurs in cytoplasm, children. Okay, why we are not selecting cytoplasm? 2 and 4 both can be the answers here, but major preference you give to option 2 because aerobic respiration majorly occurs in plasma membrane. Only glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm. Remaining Krebs cycle, ETS, okay, everything, they majorly some of the enzymes of Krebs cycle occurs in plasma membrane. So aerobic respiration for plasma membrane, go for option 2. Okay, so I hope question number 4 is clear. Now let us go to the question number 5 here. Question number 5, you can see which of the substrate is used in protoplasmic respiration. So students, I told there are two types of respiration. Which are those? I said one is protoplasmic respiration and another one is the free floating respiration. Okay, so there are two types, free floating and protoplasmic. What is the difference? If carbohydrates and fats are used, the respiration is called free floating respiration. If proteins are used, it is called protoplasmic respiration. So for this question number 5, the answer should be direct B. What should be the answer? The answer should be option 3, protein. One more thing I would like to tell here, always the cell would prefer free floating respiration, not the protoplasmic, because protoplasmic respiration where proteins are used will generate some toxic end products like ammonia. So cell does not prefer to go for proteinaceous respiration. So this is the least option for the cell. In the absence of carbohydrates and fats, then only the cell will shift it to protoplasmic respiration. It is not a preferred mode. Okay, but here the answer is option number 3. Protein. Now question number 6, in both aerobic and anaerobic or respiration, which of the following products is formed? Okay, option 1, lactic acid, option 2, pyruvic acid, citric acid, organic acid. So students, there are two types of respiration again. Okay, the two types I have already said. We based on respiratory substrates, we have two types, no doubt. Based on whether oxygen is used or not, again there are two types. You all know that very well. One is aerobic and another one is anaerobic respiration. Okay, so which of the following products is formed in both is asked in this question. Option 1, lactic acid. Lactic acid is produced in anaerobic respiration by lactobacilli. Okay, lactobacilli carry out anaerobic respiration or fermentation, what we call, where they produce lactic acid. It is not produced in aerobic process. Similarly, citric acid or citrate is produced in only aerobic respiration. It is not produced in anaerobic respiration. So I hope I am clear. Option 1 is for anaerobic. Option 3 is for aerobic. Option 2 is the answer for our question. Okay, what did I say? Option 2, pyruvic acid is the answer. Why? Because you know that glycolysis, next we'll discuss questions on that, don't worry. But if you just remember, glycolysis, the end product is pyruvic acid we say, or pyruvate. And glycolytic pathway is a common pathway for both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. It is a universal pathway present in all living organisms. So pyruvic acid is the answer here. Option 4, organic acid, is a general term because all these three are organic acids, 1, 2, and 3. You should not go for this option. Go for option number 2, pyruvic acid, end product of glycolysis. Okay. Now question number 7. Respiratory enzymes are located in mitochondrial matrix, perimitochondrial space, and cristae, and then is outer membrane. Okay, respiratory enzymes. Okay, so here respiratory enzymes means which enzyme? Enzymes of glycolysis, enzymes of Krebs cycle, and some of the proteins of electron transport chain. All this you can include. Okay, so they are located in mitochondrial matrix, space, cristae, outer membrane. Especially the word enzymes is used here. So when you are using the word enzyme, more focus you should give to glycolysis and Krebs cycle, students. Okay, so glycolysis occurs in which site? I told glycolysis occurs in the cytoplasm. That option is missing here. Glycolysis occurs in cytoplasm. That cytoplasm option is not there here, so you just leave it. Now what are the options? We have mitochondrial matrix. Yes, what is this mitochondrial matrix? The matrix or stroma. What happens in mitochondrial matrix, student? It is the site for Krebs cycle or the TCA cycle. Okay, so all the enzymes of TCA cycle are found in the mitochondrial matrix except one enzyme. I'm specifically stressing here, which is that enzyme which is not found in mitochondrial matrix. You should always know that it is succinate dehydrogenase. Okay, except that enzyme, all enzymes are found in mitochondrial matrix. So you have to go for option number 1, mitochondrial matrix. Okay, so perimitochondrial space is not the answer here because we have no enzymes not for respiration there. Cristae is right because cristae has one enzyme, ATPase. Okay, ATPase, but major preference you should give for mitochondrial matrix because major enzymes are there. So you have to go for option number 1 for this question number 7. Okay, now let us go to the next question, question number 8. Question number 8. In plants, respiration takes place only in leaves during night, only in leaves during day, in all living cells, and none of these. Okay, so plants also respire, children. As animals respire, plants also have respiration. Okay, they have photosynthesis as well as respiration both. Even though they don't have specialized organs like animals, but they do respire. Okay, so respiration takes place only in leaves during night, totally wrong. Only in leaves during day, absolutely wrong. In all living cells, simple option. Option 3, in all living cells must be the answer for this question because all living cells will have respiration there except the dead cells. Okay, in plants, you know that there are dead tissue where cytoplasm is absent and no question of respiration there. Like we have some sclerenchyma elements and all. Okay, like some fibers, etc. They don't do so, but all living cells have respiration. Option 3 is the answer. Right, now let us go to question number 9. Next question. Nearly every living organism uses glucose as a nutrient source of energy. Why? Yes, this is a very interesting question. Question is, every living organism, you take bacteria, you take plant, you take animal, you take multicellular, major living cells you take, we use glucose as the source of energy. Okay, whenever somebody is feeling weakness, we say give glucose. Okay, glucose is the major source. Question asked is why only glucose? Why not other carbohydrates? Let us read the options. Glucose is the only molecule capable of providing the energy to produce ATP. So students, this statement, what do you think about this statement? Is glucose the only molecule capable of providing energy? No, this statement is absolutely wrong. Suppose if you are taking any food in which sugars are absent, a food rich in protein you take, a food rich in lipids you take, means if glucose is absent, you will not produce ATP? No, definitely you will produce. In the absence of glucose also, we can produce ATP. This is not the reason. Okay, statement 2, the structure of glucose is very similar to ATP. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Glucose is a carbohydrate. It is an aldohexose. Okay, hexose sugar. And ATP is what? ATP is a nucleotide, nitrogen containing compound. Structural dissimilarities are there between these two. Nowhere they are similar. Statement 2 is wrong. Statement 3, glucose has more potential energy than any other respiratory substrate. Again wrong. Glucose does not have more potential energy because there are 6 carbon atoms there. Okay, each is broken down. 6 carbon dioxide molecules are liberated in the reaction. If you just recall, more potential energy is wrong because more energy you get from fats. If you compare carbohydrates and lipids, you get more energy from lipids or fats. So statement 3 is also wrong. Statement 4, the ability to harvest energy from glucose appeared very early in biological evolution. Yes, definitely this is the right option, because our ancestors means I'm not just talking about chimpanzees or something like that. I'm just talking about the ancestral cells where life started, from unicellular autotrophic organisms or chemoautotrophs. From there I'm just talking, when heterotrophs came to existence, they started utilizing glucose, and we have enzyme machinery which can very well adapt to utilization of glucose, and that has been decided during the evolutionary course. So option 4 is the right answer. Okay, so question number 9, option 4 is the right answer. Now let us go to the next question. Question number 10, in order for glucose to be used as an energy source, it is necessary that, yes, again a very interesting and slightly twisted question, please pay attention. In order for glucose to be used as an energy, suppose now a cell has to utilize glucose as a source of energy, what the cell must contribute, what is necessity for that cell? Option 1, glucose be formed from fructose. Okay, is it necessary that the cell must take fructose and then convert to glucose? No, it is wrong. In the absence of fructose, if you take directly glucose, you can start the metabolism. Option 1 is wrong. Fructose may be present, may not be present in the food items we eat. It is not a compulsion. Option 1 is wrong. Glucose be degraded to carbon dioxide. No, this happens automatically during respiration. When you use glucose as a source, definitely CO2 will be evolved if it is completely oxidized. So this is not the answer. 2 molecules of ATP be invested in the system. Yes, absolutely right. Option 3 is the answer. How it is so, students? When you want to use glucose, the first step, if you just recall, is glycolysis. Okay, glycolytic pathway. So what is glycolytic pathway? It is a 10-step process. I'll just show you the chart in the next slide. Don't worry. 10-step enzyme mediated process, and if you just recall, students, the initial steps we have to we have to spend 2 molecules of ATP. If you don't have, if a cell does not have these many molecules of ATP, you cannot use glucose as an energy source. Your enzymes will not work in the absence of ATP. Your enzymes will be helpless if you don't have ATP. So compulsorily you should dedicate, you should consume, you should spend, in other words, 2 ATP molecules to undergo glycolysis. Then only you can use it as energy source. Option 3 is the right answer. Question number 11. The main purpose of cellular respiration is to convert potential energy to kinetic energy, convert kinetic energy to potential energy, create energy in the cell, convert energy stored in the chemical bonds of glucose to an energy that the cell can use. So what is the answer you expect, students? Potential energy to kinetic, kinetic to potential is not the purpose of cellular respiration. Our purpose is, option 3 also is totally wrong. Create energy. Nobody can create energy. You know, there is a basic law. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. You know that very well. Option 4, convert energy stored in the chemical bonds of glucose. 100%. Chemical bond. Which bonds? CC bonds. Carbon-carbon bonds. To an energy that the cell can use. Definitely. In which form we are storing? In the form of ATP. That is our purpose. Okay. You have to convert it into a usable form, easily available form. So, and that is the purpose. So option 4 is the answer for question number 11. Question number 12. is there on your screens. Respiration involves breaking of dash complex compounds through oxidation within the cells, leading to release of considerable amount of energy. So what is the answer? Very simple options you have: CC bond, CO, CH, both 2 and 3. So multiple times I have said it is option number 1, CC bonds, okay, where they are undergoing oxidation, okay. And remember that, students, respiration is an oxidation process, we say, where O2 is utilized. Aerobic respiration is complete oxidation, we say. Anaerobic respiration is partial oxidation, we say, leading to release of considerable amount of energy. Considerable means how much? If you just remember, aerobic respiration will give 1 molecule of glucose will give 686 kilocalories of energy. I repeat my words, 1 molecule of glucose yields how much? 686 kilocalories of energy in presence of oxygen during aerobic respiration. During anaerobic respiration, 1 molecule of glucose can give either 59 kilocalories of energy or 36 kilocalories of energy. Okay, I repeat, this is a very important thing I am telling. If aerobic respiration, 686 kilocalories. If it is anaerobic respiration, either you have 59 as the value or 36 as the value. 59 in presence of this one, what do you say, alcohol fermentation, 36 for lactic acid fermentation. So here option 1 is the right answer. Question number 13. Read the following statements and choose the correct one. You have to find out the right statement here. Respiration is purely a catabolic process. Okay. Option 2, reduction of food results in the release of energy. Option 3, chemical energy is broken down during respiration to release energy. And option 4, fungi can make their own food and derive energy by respiration. So you have to find out the correct statement. Statement 1, respiration is purely catabolic, is wrong. Respiration is not just, we say it's a catabolic process, but it can be sometimes anabolic. Because how it can be anabolic? Because some of the intermediates of respiratory pathway can be used up for anabolic processes. Okay, I can tell you, I can give many examples here, like pyruvic acid can be used to produce acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA can be used in the synthesis of lipids, so that becomes anabolism. So purely catabolic statement would be wrong. Reduction of food occurs, wrong. What did I say? Oxidation of food results, not the reduction. Food is oxidized, not reduced. So statement 2 is wrong. Chemical energy is broken down during respiration to release energy, absolutely right. Fungi can make their own food, totally wrong. Fungi are never autotrophs, they are heterotrophic organisms. They can never prepare their own food. Okay, they are not like our green plants. So what is the answer here? Option 3 is the answer for question number 13. Let us go to question number 14 here. The compounds that are subjected to biological oxidation are called dash, in which dash is the most common. Yes. What are the compounds that are subjected to oxidation called as? They are called as respiratory substrates. Yes, children. What are they known as? Respiratory substrates, in which dash is the most common. I already said which is the most common substrate preferred by the cell. I told it is always carbohydrates. Okay. Followed by what, students? What did I say? Followed by lipids, I said. And then least preference is given to what I said? Least preference is for proteins. So here option 1 will become the answer for this question. Okay. I hope all of you have followed. Question number 15. Choose the incorrect option for the for why the plants cannot get along without respiratory organs, unlike animals that have specialized organs. Yes, what is the question? You have to understand first. First of all, you have to find out the wrong statement here. For what reason? Reason is plants can get along without respiratory organ. I said that plants do not have a special structures like you take respiratory tract like as lungs, alveoli. So structures are not there. Okay, where animals have these all structures for gaseous exchange. You have to find out the incorrect option for that. Okay, respiration rate is faster than animals in roots, stems, and leaves. Okay, so definitely this statement is right. Respiration rate is faster in root, stems, and leaves. So the rate of respiration, gaseous exchange. Why, if you ask me? Because the stems and leaves, very good example you can give. They have stomata. Okay, even on stems, lenticels can be present. Even on roots, lenticels can be present. They are helping in exchange. So rate is faster, students. This statement is the right statement. Oxygen released during photosynthesis is utilized for respiration. Yes, this statement is also right, students. Loose packing of parenchyma cells in leaves, stems, and roots facilitates respiration, right? There is very little transport of gases from one part to another part. Yes, this statement is also right statement. You have to find out the incorrect. Okay, respiration rate is faster than animals in root stem. Yeah, here, let me come back to option number 1 here. Here, stems and leaves, as I said, lenticels are present on stems. Stomata can be present. Leaves have which number of stomata? 100% it is right. But roots can have only lenticels. They do not have stomata like they are present. So on that basis, you can say that with respect to roots, this statement slightly can go wrong. I repeat my words. You have to be very careful because root is mentioned here. With respect to this statement can go wrong. So remaining all are 100% right. So you have only one choice left. So go with option number 1. I hope I am clear. Remaining all statements are totally right here. 2, 3, 4. So you have one choice wherein roots is mentioned. So you have to go for option number 1. Otherwise, if roots is not there, then that also gets okay right. Now come to question number 16. Those organisms which cannot use oxygen for growth and are even harmed by its presence are known as. Yes, you are talking about some organisms, basically microorganisms, which cannot use oxygen for growth, okay, and are even harmed by its presence. What are they called as? Obligate aerobes, option number 1. What are obligate aerobes, students? Obligate aerobes are those which cannot survive in the absence of oxygen. Compulsorily, they want oxygen. So this is not our answer. Aerotolerant anaerobes. Aerotolerant anaerobes, you can refer to those organisms which can be simply called as facultative aerobes. Facultative aerobes. Option 3 and 2, don't get confused. Option 3 is facultative anaerobes. Option 2, I am telling facultative aerobes. So here, who are the facultative aerobes? Let me tell you. Facultative aerobes are actually anaerobic organisms. They are actually anaerobic organisms, but they can tolerate little quantities of oxygen. Okay. Similarly, we have facultative anaerobes. Who are these? They are actually aerobic organisms. Facultative anaerobes are actually aerobic organisms. They can survive even in the absence of oxygen. They have that tolerance capacity. So both can be facultative, 2 and 3. Question is which cannot use oxygen and they are harmed by its presence, then definitely answer would be obligate and aerobes. What is the answer? Obligate and aerobes. Like the best example I can give you here is the organism bacteria, that is clostridium, which is obligate anaerobic organisms. Okay, so option 4 is the answer. Question number 17. Fastest energy can be obtained from oxidation of which respiratory substrate? Fat, proteins, carbohydrates, organic acid. Okay, so fastest energy can be in a short time. You want energy. So what is the preferred source? I said always it is carbohydrate. It takes less time because our enzymes are easily adapted for carbohydrate and catabolism. Option 3 is the answer. Okay, so fat, proteins, of course they too will give energy, but fastest is carbohydrates. Option 3. Question number 18. Respiration differs from burning in which of the following? Option 1, energy released in respiration. Option 2, oxidation of substrate substance occurs. Option 3, enzymes are involved. Option 4, all of these. Okay, you have to find out the difference here. Actually, energy is released in respiration. Here also energy is released in burning or combustion. Oxidation occurs in respiration also, in burning or combustion also. Enzymes are involved. It is only a property of respiration, not for burning or combustion. So option 3 is the answer. Okay, there is a major difference between combustion and respiration. Enzymes are involved in respiration. So option 3 is the answer for question number 18. Okay. Now now we'll come to the next major part of this chapter, students, that is mechanism of respiration, where we'll be discussing questions on glycolysis. Okay, so before I just come to glycolysis, let us just highlight what is this glycolysis and try to understand the steps. Okay, if you just remember, students, glycolysis is a 10-step pathway. If you just remember, how many steps are there? 10 steps are there in glycolytic pathway. And what are these 10 steps? I'll just brief out these steps here for you. The first, glucose is the respiratory substrates which gets what do you say, phosphorylated to form glucose 6 phosphate. Enzyme is hexokinase, and then glucose 6 phosphate converts to fructose 6 phosphate. Enzyme is phosphoglucoisomerase here. Okay, isomerization occurs here from glucose 6 phosphate to fructose 6 phosphate. I'll just make it elaborate. Yes, now you can see. Okay, fructose 6 phosphate is formed, which is further converted to fructose 1,6 biphosphate, utilizing again one more ATP. So till here you can just see 2 ATP molecules would be consumed. Okay, that's why we have discussed a question few minutes back. The cell has to spend 2 molecules of ATP. If it has to use glucose, compulsorily 2 ATP it should spend. Where are those 2 ATPs? In step number 1 and step number 3. So after step 3, what do you get is fructose 1,6 biphosphate, which is further split. Okay, so this step is also phosphorylation, where 6 carbon sugar is present. Now this 6 carbon compound will undergo splitting process or lysis process to give rise to one molecule of glyceroldehyde 3 phosphate and one molecule of dihydroxyacetone phosphate. I hope it is clear. One glyceroldehyde 3 phosphate, one dihydroxyacetone phosphate. This is an aldose sugar, this is a keto sugar. That's the only difference. Now these two are interconvertible by the enzyme phosphate isomerase, triose phosphate isomerase. They can interconvert by isomerization. Okay, now next what happens, you can see glyceroldehyde 3 phosphate. What happens to glyceroldehyde 3 phosphate? Now it undergoes oxidative phosphorylation. What steps are also very important. You must remember the names of steps. This is oxidative phosphorylation, where one molecule of NAD plus coenzyme is utilized and one inorganic phosphate H3PO4 is utilized in the presence of enzyme dehydrogenase to give rise to 1,3-biphosphoglycerate or glyceric acid. So what is happening? I'll just tell you here. Aldehyde is converted to acid. I repeat, children, this is very important. Aldehyde is converted to acid by the process of oxidation. So aldehyde is giving its electron and proton to this NAD plus, converting it to NADH plus H plus. And during the course, one H3PO4 is used and one phosphate is added. Earlier it was having only one phosphate. Now it is having one more phosphate. So it is called bisphosphate. Next step, once this acid is formed, this acid now will lose one phosphate. This is very important. There are two phosphate. Now biphosphoglycerate will convert to only phosphoglycerate. It loses one phosphate and donates it to ADP, adenosine diphosphate, converting it to triphosphate. And this step, what is the name of this step? Substrate level phosphorylation, where you get this 3-phosphoglycerate. 3-phosphoglycerate further will convert to 2-phosphoglycerate, only a isomerization reaction, and this 2-phosphoglycerate will undergo dehydration. It is not shown here. It is not shown here. Actually, one H2O molecule is lost here with the help of enzyme enolase, and you get phosphoenol pyruvate. And the last step is again very important, substrate level phosphorylation, where PEP is converted to pyruvate, which is the end product. Students, I have just briefed out the things here because I have the this one. You already know that we have time factor as a problem. So now let me come to this question, that is question number 19. Read the following statements, passage carefully, and select the option with all the correct answers. In glycolysis, Glucose undergoes A to form two molecules of pyruvic acid. Undergoes what? Partial oxidation. Always you should use the word partial. Why? Because it is anaerobic step. Oxygen is not used, so it is partial. To form two molecules of pyruvic acid in plants, this glucose is derived from. Okay, tell me, in plants, which is the major, disaccharide sugar? Sucrose. So B is sucrose. Glucose is derived from sucrose, which is converted into glucose and fructose by the enzyme. Which enzyme converts glucose and fructose to sucrose to glucose and fructose? Enzyme is invertase. And these two monosaccharides readily enter the glycolytic pathway. D is then the key product. D means what? Pyruvic acid. So you have to just select the option here. I said A is partial oxidation. So is A is oxidation wrong? A is reduction wrong? Option 3A is partial oxidation. B is sucrose acid. C is invertase. D is pyruvic acid. Option 3 is the answer. Okay, now quickly let me come to question number 20. Glycolysis takes place in the mitochondria, wrong. It takes place in the cytoplasm, I already said. Produces no ATP, wrong. How many ATPs does glycolysis produce, children? We get two net ATPs there, but actually I'll just go back here so that you should understand. You are getting one ATP here, please concentrate, and one more ATP here, two ATPs here, but actually from one molecule of glyceraldehyde, one more is there which convert, so four ATPs here. Totally you should not consider 4 because 2 you are spending here, so 4 minus 2, 2, 4 minus 2, 2, and one NADH here, and this NADH will give 3 ATPs. Okay, so 3 ATPs plus this one, one NADH, so 2 NADH will give 6 ATPs because you are getting 2 NADH from these two molecules. So 2 into 3, 6 ATPs here, plus 2 ATPs, 6 plus 2, total would be 8 ATPs. Please remember, glycolysis will give 8 ATPs. I'm just stressing, I hope you all will remember this. Produce no ATP would be wrong. Has no connection with ETS is wrong because NADH that is produced will go to ETS. Produces two molecules of NAD plus for every glucose molecule produced. So this answer is the right option. Option number 4 is the right option. It gives 2 NADH for every glucose molecule produced. So option 4. Question number 21. Which one is correct sequence in glycolysis? Okay, you have to find out the correct sequence. Already I have shown the chart. G6P, glucose 6-phosphate, converts to phosphoenol pyruvate, converts to phosphoglyceraldehyde, converts to phosphoglyceric acid. Totally wrong. PP will never form the PGAL and PGA. Option 1 is wrong. Option 2, glucose 6-phosphate converts to 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, right? Glyceraldehyde will form phosphoglyceric acid, right? And glyceric acid will form phosphoenol pyruvate, right? Option 2 is absolutely right here. Okay. Option 3 also there is an error here. PEP is shown first. Option 4 also PGA is giving PGAL. There is an error here. So option 2 is the answer for this question. Question number 22. Equation for the process of glycolysis is, okay, let us see the equation. C6H12O is giving rise to 2C3H4O3 plus 4H. One glucose is giving 2C3H4O3. What is this C3H4O3? It is nothing but pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid formula is C3H4O3. Two molecules you get, and 4H. What is this 4H, students? This 4H is nothing but two molecules of NADH. I repeat, 4H directly from where it comes, you may get doubt. Instead of writing NADH, two molecules of NADH, we can write 4H. So that becomes absolutely right. So option 1 is absolutely the right answer. Option 2 also, let us see what is wrong there. Glucose plus 6 carbon dioxide will give 6 carbon, totally wrong. Glucose does not use carbon dioxide. Water plus carbon dioxide giving glucose plus oxygen. This is somehow related to photosynthesis chapter. So option 1 is the right answer. Question number 23. Which is not true for glycolysis? Option 1. End products are carbon dioxide and water. Okay. What about the option 1, students? Does glycolysis give us CO2 and H2O? Never. In the chart you have seen, I have never shown anywhere CO2 and H2O released. Okay. So there are no, whereas CO2 and H2 are released in Krebs cycle. Okay, where they are released in Krebs cycle, not in glycolysis. So option 1 is wrong. Substrate level phosphorylation. Does substrate level phosphorylation occurs in glucose? Yes, 100%. Substrate level, which is not true. Question asked is which is not true. End products are CO2 and water. I said this is not true for glycolysis. So definitely this becomes the answer. Let us see the other options also I was saying. Substrate level phosphorylation, 100% it occurs. Where it occurs, if you just remember, at two places it occurs, children. At two places. One is where 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid converts to 3-phosphoglyceric acid. I have already shown in the chart. That is one reaction. Another is where PEP, phosphoenol pyruvate, converts to pyruvic acid. Last step. Okay. So these two steps, substrate level phosphorylation occurs. So this is true. Production of ATP, true. Expenditure of ATP, true. So 2, 3, 4, all these are true. Option 1, end products are CO2 and water are not true. So that becomes the answer. Question number 24. The site of EMP pathway of breakdown of glucose in a cell is? Very simple direct question. Nucleoplasm, mitochondria, cytoplasm, peroxisome. So what is the answer? You all know that the answer is 100% cytoplasm. EMP means what? I did not tell you, should know. EMP means Emden Mayer of Parnas, which is nothing but glycolysis. Name of scientist. You tell EMP, you tell glycolysis. Both are same. Where does it occur? In the cytoplasm. Option 3 is the right answer. Question number 25. Which of the following is an energy yielding process? Okay, very carefully you have to answer this question. Which of the following is an energy yielding process? Okay, option 1. 2-phosphoglycerate converts to 2-phosphoenol pyruvate. Okay, glyceric acid converting to phosphoenol pyruvate. This is not an energy yielding process because already I said that 2-phosphoglycerate phosphoenol pyruvate, how it is formed, I already said that it is formed by dehydration. So it is not energy relating. Option 1 is wrong. Fructose to fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose to fructose 6-phosphate is not energy yielding, rather it is energy consuming, because one ATP molecule is consumed here in option number 2. For option 3, phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate. Yes, this is the answer. PEP converts to pyruvic acid where phosphate is liberated and donated to inorganic phosphate. ATP is formed. This is the last step again of glycolysis, which is energy yielding process. Option 3 is the right answer. Option 4 also, let us see. Fructose 1,6-biphosphate to PGAL and DHAP. This is a splitting or lytic reaction we say, or lysis we say. This is not energy yielding. So again I say option 3 is the right answer. The number of molecules of pyruvic acid formed from one molecule of glucose at the end of glycolysis is absolutely how many pyruvic acid you get, student? I need not tell, you all know very well. 2 is the answer, because pyruvic acid has 3 carbon atoms, glucose has 6 carbon atoms. One glucose will give 2 molecules of pyruvic acid. If glucose is labeled with 14 carbon, 14 is the radioactive carbon or radioisotope of carbon, which molecule will become radioactive as glycolysis and TCA are completed? Okay. Question is, you are labeling glucose. In glucose, 6 carbons are there. Okay. All the 6, assume that all the 6 or any one of those 6, whatever, you are labeling with, instead of normal carbon, radio labeled carbon is used. At the end product, where you find radioactivity is asked. Very interesting question. Option 1, water. Definitely not, because water never has any carbon. So definitely this option should be rejected. It is H2O. Carbon is absent. NADH, coenzyme. What is NADH? NADH is coenzyme. It may have carbon, but coenzyme is not involved in the catalysis. It is just released. It is only donating electrons and protons. It will never be labeled. Option 2 is not the answer. Option 3, ATP. ATP is rather formed as an energy molecule. Even though it has carbons, but its carbons will never be labeled. It is formed from ADP. Okay, adenosine diphosphate, which is unlabeled. So you don't find any radioactivity here. So definitely the answer should be option number 4, that is carbon dioxide, because whatever carbon dioxide comes, it comes from glucose. Okay, so
Madam,
option number, sir. Okay, option number 4 is the answer for this question, students. Okay, so glycolysis questions I have discussed. In the next class, students, I may discuss questions on Krebs cycle. Okay, thank you.